What is up, guys? Joseph Scalise here, and it's the Noble Gwentry, and welcome to Theorycraft Thursday, where we break down an off-meta deck. And this week, I am super excited because we get to break down my favorite, or maybe one of my favorite leaders in the game, and someone who does not get enough love, and that is Harald the Cripple. So for those of you that don't know him, and you should know him, he's a 3 strength gold, and he does 5 damage to a unit, and if you kill that unit, you got to do 4 damage, and then if you kill that unit, you got to do 3, and then 2, and then 1. Very, very strong swing play and a very strong control tool. Now, Skellige Control is a deck I have wanted to build and test for a long time, and it is a deck that I haven't really gotten a chance to just because I've been pretty constricted in the scraps area of the game. Well, the new patch hit. I got to actually craft some legendaries, craft some scraps, and built out Skellige, and with that, I got to build this deck, which instantly took me up to rank 13, and almost to rank 14. We're getting there. The grind is real. Now, this deck is as I said, a control deck that is based around removal. Removal, 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 removal. So, control is tricky in the world of Gwent because of how tempo-oriented things are. There's graveyard decks, there's things that naturally resist it, and because there's no mana, it's hard to play control where, like, I have a big minion and my opponent only has small minions or units. That's not how it works, because everyone can play every card at every time. So the way you have to play control is by just simply never letting your opponent get anything down or limiting the strength of your opponent's units, and that's exactly what this deck is based around. And that's kind of what Harald does really well. Now, we'll get right into the bronze units. First thing we'll talk about is the Clan Terciac Axemen and the Raging Berserkers. Now, these are both 2-ofs. The Clan Terciac Axemen, they are 2 strength and they have 2 armor. They also have veterans, so they get boosted each round. And whenever an enemy is damaged, this gets boosted by 1. So this has a lot of synergy with the deck. Now, you may ask yourself, why are you only running 2 Axemen? It's to make room for 2 Raging Berserkers, which are 6 strength, and when they get damaged, they turn into a Raging Bear. There's a lot of way to damage these. I'm doing a 2-2 split between the Axemen because the Axemen are very strong and they grow out of control, but there are many points in the game or in a round where you won't be doing damage to your opponent's units, and the Axemen lose a little bit of value. You usually want to use these earlier on in the game. Play these round 1 when you have things like Savage Bear, or you want to play your Shield Maidens, and then these grow really rapidly, or they eat removal. Very, very strong on their own. And then the Raging Berserkers help you out because when you only have 1 ping, or your opponent plays Weather or something, you can play these, and then they get buffed. So the Berserkers and the Axemen are both very nice, and there's a split there. If you want to switch them out, make the numbers different, you can. And I'll talk about that in a minute. 3 Savage Bears. This card is, in my opinion, the strongest bronze unit in Skellige right now. It is the fact, so it's 6 strength now, if you guys aren't familiar with the new patch, which makes this card unreal. Because damaging each enemy by 1 on a 6 strength unit that is very hard to kill outside of something like Alzur's Thunder just lets you roll your opponent. It has synergies with the Axemen. It also just controls the board so well. Fantastic, and an easy 3 of in this list. Also, Clan Drummond Shield Maidens. This card it's just phenomenal. This is, I cannot express how good this card is. You do 2 damage to a unit. If that unit was damaged when you hit it, you get another one out of your deck, and you do it again, and then you can get the other one out of your deck. It's a fantastic point swing on a bronze unit. It's deck thinning, and the fact that it has veteran means that 4 or 5 strength Clan Drummonds can just win you the game in the later turns, which is very, very powerful in and of itself. And then the final bronze cards, there's 1 First Light just to kind of hedge our bets. As Ragnarok and Drought have gone down, I've wanted to cut this, but there are so many decks running random bronze weathers. Having an extra First Light is pretty important. Priestess of Freya, you're running 3 of them. They're very, very good with things like the Raging Berserkers because the bears they bring back are 11 strength, which is really nice. Also, they just have a lot of synergy with what this deck is trying to do because a lot of the time your opponent is going to use removal on something like a Axeman or a Bear, and being able to bring that right back to the battlefield puts a lot of pressure on them. They also have some really nice synergy with Madman Lugos. You can, like, round 1, play Lugos, discard a Shield Maiden if you don't have one in hand, resurrect it with Priestess, and then get this combo off that way, which in and of itself is really nice. And then finally, there's one Clan Brokvar Archer. Now, the Archer, this could become a third Bear, this could become a third Axeman. The reason I'm playing the Archer is not only does it have nice combo with the Berserkers and the Axeman, but it also pops Harpy eggs, which is pretty important. I've seen a lot of monsters in the early days of the patch. Having the Clan Brokvar Archer being able to knock down eggs really easily is very nice and just gives you a little bit more utility in that matchup. So that's the bronze package for this deck. Like I said, this, and this can be tweaked. I think the Bears, the Shield Maidens, and the Priestess are all pretty locked in because they're all very, very strong. Now, the silver cards, pretty good silver package here. You are playing a control deck, so Donar Ahindar is very good. His ability to take a bronze card from your opponent's deck actually comes up quite a bit. I see a lot of people downplaying Donar, saying, oh, well, he's not that good, his ability doesn't do anything. But the fact of the matter is it does quite a bit. It's really strong against spell decks. It can hit like Vivicara Medics when you're playing against Nilfgaard. You can steal monster cards. I've stolen Foglets before. There's just a lot of cool things you can do with this card, which is really nice. Also running Holger Blackhand. He's just insane. He's a 5 strength card that does 5 damage, and then if you kill the unit, you also get to strengthen the highest unit in your graveyard by 3, so that has synergy with Priestess of Freya, but he also has Veteran, so in round 2, he's a 6 strength that does 5 damage, and then he's a 7 strength that does 5 damage. He's basically a Triss at that point, with an extra ability tacked on. Fantastic removal card. Sigdrifa, she just resurrects a silver or bronze unit from your graveyard. You can bring back Holger, you can bring back Myrtlebrak. You can also bring back Gremist and Donar and any of this. Just a lot of utility. And speaking of Myrtlebrak, he does... So he's a card that saw a lot of play in closed beta, and he is very good in this deck as well. He does 2 damage, and 1 damage. So he is a more versatile Holger. Yes, he doesn't have the veteran ability, but the ability to... You can just do 5 damage right away. You can spread out that damage any way you want. You can do 2 damage, and then 1 damage to your own Raging Berserker if you want. There's a lot of things you can do with this card, and I think he is one of the staples of this deck. And then finally, Gremist. You want to run a Skellige deck, you want to run Gremist. All of his abilities are strong. The Fog is pressure, clear skies, always important. And then the fact that he can make you a 12 strength bear that you can then resurrect in later rounds with Priestess is very, very nice. And the last card is Uldalric. Uldalric, I guess is the way you pronounce that. He draws the top 2 cards to your deck. You keep one, you discard the other. He's just the Skellige card draw, and he does very well at getting you card advantage. So, the last thing, as we get into the golds, Holger Blackhand does 5 damage. Myrtlebrak does 5 damage, and that is because your finisher is going to be Hallmar. Hallmar is a 15 strength gold that summons Lord of Undvik, which is a 5 strength silver for your opponent, and when that dies, Hallmar gets buffed by 10. So what you do is you play Hallmar at the end of the game, then you play Holger or Myrtlebrak, or maybe you Shield Maiden or something, or Harald the Cripple, who also does 5 damage. Kill the Lord of Undvik, and you've basically... or Undvik, and you basically just played a 25-point gold, and you gave up really nothing, which is really, really nice. This card has a ton of utility. Pressures rounds is the reason to play a control Skellige deck. We also have Madman Lugos, 7 strength gold, discard a bronze unit from your deck and damage a unit by the discard unit's base power. He's basically an Alzur's Thunder with a 7 strength gold body attached, and if that sounds insane to you, it's because it is. We're also running Ciri. Yes, she has been nerfed, but the card advantage you get from her is still insanely powerful. I don't think her being a 7 or a 5 matters all that much. It just means you're going to be using her in round 2 after winning round 1 a lot more, and that's okay. And then finally, we have Mom herself, that is Coral. She picks a unit and damages all units on the row by half their power. that's a swing. That is a huge swing. She can easily be worth 20 to 30 points of strength, including the fact that she's a 5 strength gold. Also, one of the strongest golds for Skellige right now. So this is the list. I have had a lot of success with it. I think the numbers are good, although the bronzes can be tweaked. The silvers and the golds, though, are pretty strong. You could replace Ciri, and we'll talk about that more in the games, which are coming up next.
Alright guys, we're playing some Harald Control. I'm really excited for this one. Really excited for this one. I really enjoy Harald. He is a leader that I've wanted to play with for
wettest dreams.
ever. I just think his ability is so cool. And we're playing against, Foglets. I was going to say Consume, but it's Foglets. We want to look for bears here. First Light is going to be really good. Priestess of Freya, not so much. We'll get rid of the Archer first. There's a bear. Bears are good. Myrtle Bract is really good. Coral doesn't get that much value in this matchup, but we are going to keep her at least for round 1. Donar is also pretty good because Lock works on Foglets. I guess if our opponent's playing a way to kill Savage Bear, we want the Priestess. Everything else seems pretty solid. Although we do have Sigdrifa, right? But we want to use Sigdrifa later in the game. This is tricky. I guess we'll get rid of the Priestess. And we need to get rid of that Shield Maiden. And we got Holger. Holger's fine. So, we lead with the bear. We definitely lead with the bear. I'd rather have the bear eat removal than the Axeman. The Axeman is just... These cards grow just insane amounts. The fact that they have Veteran also is really nice. But most games, that doesn't matter as much. Alright, that's actually pretty cool. So he's playing just a Weather deck. We can Raging Berserker if we want to. I think it's actually better to play the Axeman. We'll play it in the middle row. We have Clear Skies, but all of these are Siege, or these 3 are Siege. I'd rather have the focus on the middle row. Okay, so the Crones have come to town. Coral's pretty good against the Crones, but I don't think... I think it's better just to Clan Drummond here. We could also just play the Raging Berserker. That way, if our opponent passes, it becomes an 11, and then we win 2... I want to keep tempo. I think this is better.
No!
We're going to kill the Wild Hunt Hound because we want to set up Coral. Coral's much stronger on the back row. And their shields are their ramparts, so you know how that is. Cool. That's Clear Skies time for us. The question is... I mean, do we even want to Clear Skies? So we play this. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't actually lose anything from this. We lose 1. Yeah, I think this is actually a better play.
Hayley Jarhout!
I think this is stronger because...
Don't make me laugh.
Ciri, eh? Ciri suspiciously sounds like a pass from us. We don't want to go down 2 cards against a fog deck, especially when we have weather in our hand. We'll be fine. Like, yes, he gets to take the round, but like going down 2 cards is basically the same thing as losing, especially with no card advantage in our hand. He might... That was interesting. So why would he play a Harpy into a bear? What else is in his hand? It's a very good question that I don't have an answer to. Also, he didn't play any Foglets, so there's a chance he doesn't have Foglets. Priestess of Freya for a bear is really good. Unfortunately for us. Oh, Uldalk. I actually don't know how to say that thing. Udalric is not going to be good. Ooh, we got the Big Daddy finisher. Homar is just insane. Hallmar is just one of those cards that, like, this card makes the deck. Also, that's perfect for us because it lets us play a bear here without having to worry about going down in tempo, which is really nice. We
Bow before modern Freya.
could resurrect the 11, which stops Katakon. Is that better than the Savage Bear? This is... Yeah. We don't want him to be able to Katakon or leverage Caretaker this round. Ah, see? He probably ate the 8, if I had to imagine. We're not going to get too many good Coral targets in this game, so I think we're going to Coral that. We could also Murktabracht, because we have Holger for the Lord of Unvict next turn. Although we also have Sigdrifa as a res. So if we use Murkbracht here, like, that's pretty good. So it's a 5, which puts us even. We do 2 damage to here, 1 damage to an egg, and then 2 damage to this again, I guess. Yeah. And then he goes +2 on the egg, but... Wait, why did it summon 2? What? Why did that happen? That smells like a bug. It's probably because it is a bug. That's really frustrating. Okay, so... questions that need to be answered. Do we care about all this? If we go up 7 with Donar and lock the egg... We go to 22, we go down to 20, we're down 12. Then we play First Light. Our opponent loses 6. That's not good. We're like in a pretty bad spot here. We have nothing good in the graveyard, unfortunately. If we Coral, it's 5, 6, 7, 8. +5. I guess this is the best play.
I suppose. In the end.
Yes, we lose tempo, but we can get back into the tempo game. Whereas, if we do it the other way... So he's pushing here, which makes me think that he probably has... I don't even know what he has here. Oh. Well... That's probably why he's pushing. That is going to allow us to clear skies, though, which is nice, instead of losing too much value. I don't think he's going to be able to take this round. Like, if he wants to use Dagon here, he can. It's really not the end of the world. Sure. Okay, now we have a decision to make. And that decision is going to be... If we play Sigdrifa, and Axeman is 3, this is 6. That's going to put us down in tempo. We can use Holger, though, because of Sigdrifa, which I like. So we'll do that.
Calling me a coward?
We'll just shoot the Katakon. Because we can always use Harald the Cripple to clear up most of his board. We may have to use Hallmar here, which I don't want to do. If we play Hallmar, he's going to instantly pass. But then we've used Hallmar, which sucks. And I want him to use Dagon if at all possible. Maybe we just use Harald here. We can go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That clears up a lot of the space on his side of the board. This is actually a really tricky turn. Yeah, we'll Herald.
To arms, all of yous!
And just in case he has like a decoy or something. It's a pretty significant push. And he got the pass, which is why I did that more than anything. I really wanted the pass there. Because our hand was getting pretty weak, and Sigdrifa didn't have any value without Holgar or Murderbrack in the back of her hand. And we need it for Halmar. So Donar's not... Ooh, reses are great. We get to go first, so we get to bear immediately, which is really good. Donar's an 8, which in and of itself is pretty good, but I think we still have a lot of good cards left in our deck. We do have Ciri, which is worse than Donar. But we also have Gremist and stuff, so I'm going to go for it. We got a Priestess. That's not the end of the world.
Bow before modern Freya.
And we're going to bear. He's probably going to fog the bear, but that's just the way of the world. God, so good. Staying one step ahead. He's going to take Holgar, obviously. No. No, he is not. Okay, this is an interesting question now. What is worth more to us? Do we want to Sigdrifa to kill the Axeman? I guess we can't kill it anyway. So it's probably better. These are 5s. Yeah, it's better to just do this, I guess.
We serve her who is virgin, mother, and crone.
So we have 25 points. We're up 28 right now. So we are at... He has to get to... Okay, so we could kill this. Now, let's think about this. We could play Sigdrifa, resurrect Holgar, kill the 5. He goes down, but then we lose points on Halmar. And it really, which one of those is going to matter more? I think that's the question we have to ask ourselves here. Our opponent is going to get, this is going to give our opponent 1, let's just say off the fog. So this is 2 more triggers, so that's 1, 2. The fog is 3, 4. He's already used the hag, so we can't use that. This is likely something that doesn't do damage. So it's probably better to play Halmar. We'll put it in the back row.
On crate!
I think this is the right play. I think we get more value out of Halmar than we do anywhere else. I want him to fog the middle row and not the back one, because the back row doesn't actually do anything, whereas the middle row has something that's a 5. Exactly. Because we're going to put Sigdrifa and Holgar into the back row.
The goddess protect you from all evil!
Onward!
Alright, let's see what the last card is. He's already used the Crones. There it is. So, notice the things that I did right that game, right? And I'm not saying that to brag. This is a teaching. This is what these videos are for. The setting up the Clan Drum and Shield Maiden in the middle row, right? So he uses fog on that row instead of the back row. Getting the bear out both times, beating the Katakan and beating Caretaker. Those small interactions matter, and they come up really big, and they're the difference between winning and losing games. So that is game number 1 with Harald. I will see you guys for game number 2. All right, guys, we're back for game number 2. Also, I'm cutting the background music. It always just feels like it's so loud in my videos. Don't know why. So, sound effects and the voices.
For Skellige's glory! Way! To arms, all of yous!
All right, so we have the Morkvarg deck. I've seen a lot of Morkvarg decks. Definitely one of the trickier matchups for us, although Savage Bear is pretty good here. We're going to keep Coral, Ciri. Of course we want Donar. We will start by mulligan a Shield Maiden. I don't think we want the Well, the Archer will trigger the Bear, and it will make our Axeman better, but I don't know if that's necessarily worth it. That card's really just for the monster matchup. Well, Uldarik is also really good. So Uldarik and Ciri are very, very nice. We'll cut the first light then. Alright, and Lugos is pretty good. Isn't this nice? It's more peaceful. We can actually just sit here and talk about the game without that music just being super loud and obnoxious. I think so. Give me feedback, but if you guys don't like the videos, then without the sound, I'll switch it back. But for right now, this is what we're doing. We're going to lead with the Bear. No reason to lead with the Axeman for two reasons. One, if he has removal, we want the removal to be used on the Bear, not the Axeman.
You've got the heart, and I'm great.
Yeah, so he has Morkvarg. We want to use Donar in a position like...
For Brad!
We would be happy with him passing here because then we can Donar and win. We have double card advantage, so we don't mind going down more than one card.
Out with the crowns. Come on, quick now.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And we will just clan Drummond here.
Our shields are our ramparts! Give them no rest, no reprieve!
That seems pretty solid to me. I probably should have put this into the back row because of the clan Drummonds, but we'll put the Raging Berserker into the back row. The way you beat this deck, you want to win round one and then just card advantage them out is really what you want to do. We have the engine going of Bear and Axeman, so that's going to do a lot. Also, we have Lugos. Actually, we're going to Murdbrock that. If he has Igni, of course he has Igni, but we'll Murderbrock first and then we'll Lugos should we need it. I wanted to set up Raging Berserker before Murderbrock, but it's probably better to do it like this just because of the way it works. We can also play the Berserker if he has like a...
Modron Freyr is patient, but she brooks
okay,
no
so he's
insult.
already using a res, which is really good
So
for
what?
us.
Should I pound it into a poker?
He's not going to win this round, like, unless he has an Igni.
Coming to get ya.
Put the Bear in the back row, which makes our reses later in the game really nice. Also, Coral in round 3 is just fantastic against Morkvarg because she basically cuts his power in half. And that goes a long way. We could also play Ciri if we want to. I don't think we need to, though. We have such a commanding lead that if he wants to try to catch up, we play like Lugos or something. We can kill another one of his units. We have Donar, which we're going to use maybe this round, maybe next round. It really depends on how this shakes out. He's just... Every time he plays... Yeah, there we go. Perfect. That is absolutely perfect. We could actually, if we really wanted to, we could Donar here. But it's probably better to Donar next round. Well, we're going down 2 cards, and then we get 2 cards back. I don't know. I think it's better just to save Donar. Because we have Coral, right? So we just want Hallmar. Like, he's the dream. He's like the last piece of the puzzle. Like, all the golds are so strong in this matchup. Oh, that's a good card. And so is that one. Yeah, these are all nice. There's no reason to mulligan anything here. So we want to lead with Ciri, no doubt. We'll put her in the middle row, I guess.
Don't make me laugh.
Yeah, the fact that she's not a 7 anymore, like, doesn't matter. Like, you could replace her. There are options, as I talked about in the guide and the write-up, but for the most part, like, that is a disaster for our opponent.
Give them no rest, no reprieve.
That's not what you wanted to see in that situation. And then we'll use Udalric, and we'll put him here. So we are going to discard whatever we don't take, so we are going to take Sigdrifa. There's like no reason not to. We can also now use the Priestess of Freya if we want to res. But we're going to bleed our opponent out a little bit here. We don't have Hallmar or anything.
Bow
so
before modern Freya.
he's just making more
barrels
big.
of burning pitch.
It's fine. We do have Coral, but we obviously don't want to use her this round. I think it's better just to Gremist here.
Have you nothing better to do?
Then we will fog it up. It's a pretty good fog since they're both at 12. We can also Lugos next turn, and then from there we will probably... I actually don't know what we're going to do next. We do want to bleed our opponent down. The cards we want... We could also use Harald. Harald's a pretty good one. I think Priestess resurrecting a Axeman is probably the way we want to play this.
Give them no rest, no reprieve.
That's pretty clever.
Now, all
It
together.
offsets these.
Bow before modern Freya.
And we want to get the Axeman.
For blood!
This is really going to put the pressure on our opponent, make him use some of his better cards, which is nice. Also, he may use a lock on this, which would be really nice, because then it makes it less likely
Well,
that he can...
what is it?
Lugos. Boo. It's a pretty nice one. We probably got rid of a bear. We're also going to Lugos here.
Well, what is it?
And we are going to get rid of the archer. It's another good use for the archer because it lets you play the game that you want to play. If that makes sense. Like, you can also use it for discard fodder for Madman Lugos without having to give up good cards in your deck, which is really nice. Also, we do have a pretty strong Harald here, but we may want to save him for the last round. Decoy. So he does have Decoy in hand, we know that. But we are going to have to make him burn that at some point. If he plays Decoy, we're just going to lock Morkvarg immediately. Now that we know he has Decoy... He's losing 4 a turn from this, which is putting a lot of pressure on him.
Greetings. Want to look over our stock?
Okay. That's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. If we lock this now, he gets some pretty decent decoy value. But we're up 2 cards. This is really rough. So we can't play Donar anymore. At least not in the way that we want to. If we play Donar here, he decoys Morkvarg. Although him losing decoy also isn't the end of the world. I don't want to use Harald just in case, because look at our graveyard real quick. We don't have a way to do 5 damage. Oh no, we have Murtbrock. I was just going to say I don't want to use Harald because of... We don't have a way to kill Lord of Unvict if we get Hallmar. But I think this is actually a good play. Now that we have that.
Up and at 'em, lazy mingers! You'll
Go
sleep
5,
when you're dead!
4, 3, and then 2. And that'll put them on the same track, and he's back to losing 4 a turn, which is exactly what we want. I would not be surprised to see a decoy here. What I expect to happen is I lock the, or he decoys, I lock, he plays his own Donar, and then we just go to the next round, most likely. That's what I expect. I want to take him down as far as possible. Ooh, mutagen. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing we can do about that, Morkvarg. It's coming back as a 14, so it's only a 7. Like, when you think about it like that, it's not the end of the world. So I think this is our pass. Like, we have a Rev. Donar is just not doing all that much, I guess. I mean, if we play Donar, this goes to 20. And then it comes back as a 17. So decoy's like 3. But does that even matter? Like, we want it. Decoy's a dead card anyway, but we do want to get it out of him. It depends how little options we want our opponent to have. We can push the round a little further if we play Donar here. But then he has 3 more carryover. I think it's better just to strand decoy in his hand. Also, if you're wondering why I keep talking about him having decoy, it's because he hovered over. He pointed it at his Priestess of Freya, which, like, almost assuredly means that he has it. So we get Ciri back.
Hide your stench.
I mean, that Morkvarg's annoying, but at the end of the day, that's all it is. See, if we have the 1 in 7 to get Hallmar, that would be amazing. Or any red. That's actually probably the worst. Worst case scenario. Raging Berserker's not terrible. It's just not great. So our opponent has a Priestess of Freya as he's looking over his graveyard.
Modron Freyr is patient, but she brooks no insult.
Light Longship. Ooh, a bear. Do I want to lock that? That seems lock-worthy.
For Heimdall!
He may decoy it. What did I get? Oh, we got a light longship. That's actually not terrible. I could see him decoying this. I want to play Raging Berserker next. If he decoys this, Raging Berserker procs for free. If he doesn't, then we get to use Sigdrifa with Murtbracht, which is solid. Oh, he decoyed his Freya. Alright, put more things into this
Bow
row.
before Modron Freya.
Ah, he's going to play the Shieldsmith.
So
That's
what?
annoying. That plays around
Should I
Coral
pound it into
in
a
its own
poker?
way.
Coming to get ya.
Yeah, like, that's the problem, right? Is, like, maybe I should have just Donard last turn. Although, stopping this is not the end of the world. I don't know. Maybe I should have made him use decoy last turn. He would have had a little bit
The
less
goddess
oh, he also had
protect you
Sigdrifa.
from all evil.
Why won't he take the long ship? There's a reason he's not taking the long ship, and I don't know what it is. Yeah, like, you definitely take the long ship there. It's definitely the best play. We can kill that with Murtbracht if we want to. The problem is we won't get to proc our own Raging Berserker. But maybe that's for the best.
May Modron Freya watch us and keep us.
Anything else we want? Grimace is fine, but I think this is the play. So this is minus 8-3. Oh, he had Coral. Alright, we lost. There's nothing we could have done about that.
I suppose, in the end.
It was a close game, though. I wonder, had we pinged that, would we have won?
You talked enough.
We had +5, but he'd also be at... He would have had the ship. I don't know. That would have been a close game. I really don't know if that would have been better or worse for us. Alright, well, we are 1-1. I will see you guys for game number 3. Alright, guys, we are back with game number 3. Maybe we would have won that game if we had just donar'd. Like, if I donar in round 2...
The gate must be secure.
More consumed,
Up and at 'em,
of course.
lazy mingers!
Of
You'll
course.
sleep when you're dead.
Oh, wow, we got all the golds. And we have a bear, which is really nice. I think we're actually going to get rid of the berserkers. They're not that great in this matchup. Every other card in our hand is good. The priestess is, like, kind of dead. I guess we'll get rid of her. So, I mean, this is just a bigger priestess, right? The bear is so good against consume because it stops the harpy eggs. In fact, this card might be the only thing that's keeping harpy eggs in check. Like, harpies are just disgusting how strong they are. I love them also. Don't get me wrong. Monsters is my favorite faction. So I love the fact that they can come out and do all these crazy things, but still. A little pushed. Let's just say that. They are a little pushed. Harald is also fantastic here because the 5-4-3-2-1 is just, it's always going to hit because all of the units they have are lower in strength than that.
Such a shame. I must kill you.
What? What? Go away, you annoying succubus. Ugh, God. I've seen this card played so much recently, and I don't get why. Ugh, that's so frustrating. We can't even kill our own bear. I would kill this and then just resurrect it. Oh, I guess we can. We can madman for another bear and then kill that. That's much better than letting our opponent have a bear. Yeah, let's do that.
Well, what is it?
We can actually use Raging Berserker here. That'll be fine. It's not very good in this matchup. Like, that's literally the same as our opponent taking our 6 from us, except he doesn't get the pings from it, which is really nice. So he was just trying to make sure the Harpy stayed around. We're going to play the Axeman. We also don't need to res the bear right now. There's, like, no reason to. We have the Axeman, and we have Harald. Like, what Harald can do is disgusting, especially with what we're going to do with these Axemen. We'll put them on different rows. We'll put them down here and one up here. I would expect him to pass pretty soon. So we can Merkbrocht, we can go 2-2-1, or we can go 2-2-1. Probably go 2-2-1. That leaves the 4-3 gradient is really good for Harald. I could also see him using Unseen Elder this turn to protect his board from... Oh, he just passed. Alright. Well, we have Ciri, so I don't really care about that. Then we pop this. And that's fine. Like, we're gonna go down one card in round 3, but we have Hallmar and Coral. And he does not have Hallmar or Coral, so that's really good for us. We also want to use his Katacon and Caretakers this round, so I'm not gonna play Holgar, if at all possible. Yeah, we're going to actually take the Priestess immediately to stop him from caretakering or katakaning the Savage Bear. We like everything in this hand.
We serve her who is
gonna do
virgin,
this
mother,
right
and
away.
crone.
It's a lot of value, and like in game 1, you just want to get... We're not going to pass right away here because we have the Ciri. The card doesn't matter. I've seen this played a lot, but it does not matter. We play Ciri here.
You talked enough.
Okay, so the question here is, what do we want to do about that annoying card? We don't have that much going on in the graveyard. Can't use this. I guess we could just Holger it. I think that's fine. Holger Blackhand is one of my favorite cards in the game. Also, so incredibly powerful. Like, the fact that he can be rezzed with Sigdrifa is so strong. And then we will Clan Drummond. We want to pass likely after the Clan Drummond. Ooh, especially because we get a full clear here. That's really good. That takes away his...
Now! All together! Give them
consume
no
potential.
rest, no reprieve! Our shields are our ramparts!
We may have just gotten back in tempo. If he has to play 2 cards here to catch up to us, like, we're in really good shape. So we'll see what he does. He hasn't played any Arakises yet. Okay, so that's another behemoth. So this seems like a really good pass. He has to go down to 5. We go back up to 5, and then we get the last stay on the Coral, which is really important for us. And we have the Hallmark Coral combo. Yes, Sigdrifa is not going to be great, but we can Sigdrifa the Bear, which is actually probably better than Sigdrifa getting Holger because we can just use Harald the Cripple with Holger anyway. I think this is a really nice pass. Our opponent's going to have to commit like the Crones or something big to not go down 2 cards because most consume cards don't have a huge swing. Like, he had to use Katakan there, which is fine. He did get his Araxes, which I was wondering about. So we have Coral for the Crones. We get Ciri back. We can lead with Ciri if we want to. But we'll probably Sigdrifa for a Savage Bear if we can get it. We'll see what else we get in our hand, though. That's really good. We'll get rid of Ciri. She's just a 5. She's easily the weakest card here. Another Priestess. That's pretty nice. And he's already used Katakan, which is really good for us. He'll probably Caretaker to lead. Oh, okay. Cool.
Bow before modern Freya.
Savage Bear. This card is really strong. Even if this card was a 5, like a lot of people have said they want it to be, I'd still play it. I think it's so good. Alright, let's see what's going on in the graveyard. There's like nothing we really want that's that insane, so I think we're actually going to Sigdrifa for Holgar first.
The goddess protect you from all evil!
The reason we can do this is because Harald does 5 damage for the Lord of Unvict, which is really good.
Naivety is a fool's blessing.
Okay, so Gales is probably going to go get Karen Thyr, I would assume. Oh no, Renew. Have I not been talking about Renew all week? The card is seeing more and more play. I think it's too strong. I think Renew will have to go back to its closed beta form, which if you guys didn't play in closed beta, it could only get things from your graveyard. Also, Succubus is really bad in this situation. Regis, that's fine. I mean, annoying, but fine. We do want to be careful here because there will be a point where he can use his hero and he'll only have gold things on the board, and then Coral, of course, loses a lot of value. But at the same time, like, we want to watch out for the Crones.
We serve her who is virgin, mother, and crone.
We're going to... We could actually take that bear. I don't know what's better. Like, do we want to use the bear or do we want to use the axeman? I think the axeman probably gets us more value. The reason the axeman probably gets us more value is because the double bears are nice, but the axeman's going to grow, whereas this just shuts down. Like, he's just going to use this, right, to clean up his board. And this just offsets a lot of that. And because the spider gets damaged, like, this also grows. So he got a pretty nice buff there. And that's fine. So we play Hallmar here.
On crate!
Very strong. And going last helps us coral down the crones, which is very important. It's perhaps probably the most important thing at the end of this game.
We're all dressed up just
There you go. So we can actually herald and go 5, 4, 3, which in of itself is pretty good. Like, this is where Herald shines.
Better loot than your wildest, wettest dreams!
Like, this is where you want Herald to be. And then we go 3 on the Necker, I guess, since we're planning on hitting the back row. And now we're up by 10. Like, it's really good. And there's a forfeit. So, this is Herald Control. I love this deck. I think it's really, really sweet. I'm going to go, there's a lot of decks I'm trying out right now, but Herald is one of my favorite leaders, and I really want to make a deck for him, and so far this deck has had very good success. So, if you guys like Skellige, if you want to do something that isn't just resurrecting things from the graveyard, check it out. I'm Joseph Scalise. This is Theorycraft Thursday on the Noble Gwentry. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope life is wonderful wherever you are. I will see you all next week.